What is going on today, guys? So today I'm making a video about how I think the UFC is wasting Tom Aspinall's prime. So let's get into it. I found a couple YouTube shorts that kind of summarize like the situation right now. This is on Tom Aspinall's channel. You can see Tom Aspinall official. So go subscribe to Tom if you didn't know he has a YouTube channel. He uploads some cool stuff. But let's get into it.
I've been staying away from the media and talking about Jon Jones a lot because, in all honesty, I'm sick of talking about it myself. But there needs to be updates. I have spoke to the UFC on multiple occasions about this fight. I'm chasing it up. I want the fight. What is holding it up right now is his side. That's the truth of it.
Okay, so you guys can see right there. He says Jon Jones and his managers are the ones that are holding up negotiations for the fight. So that tells me Jon Jones doesn't want to fight him, and he's probably not going to fight him. So, yeah, that is the first one. On to the next one.
What we need to be clear on, though,
Right
is
here.
that I have done enough in the UFC to fight for the undisputed title.
Okay, so he says he's done enough to fight for the undisputed title. This should be common sense, right? I feel like this is pretty obvious considering he's the fucking interim champion. But Jon Jones would disagree. So, yeah. I guess Jon Jones doesn't think he's done enough. He said it multiple times before and after Tom beat Curtis Blades. So, yeah. So, I feel like we're not going to see the fight. It sounds like we're not going to see the fight because Tom clearly wants it and Jones clearly doesn't want it. So, but let's go to the last short right here.
The UFC is about one guy being the champion of each division. I defended the interim once already. It's almost unheard of, that. It's unprecedented. I thought it was silly the first time, to be honest. The reason that I did it, the first time I fought Curtis Blades, it went down as a loss. I got injured. The worst moment of my career, one of the worst moments of my life. I wanted to redeem myself and get the legit victory against Curtis Blades because it was unfinished business. Like, that was hurting my ego, and I wanted to prove that I was better than Blades, which I did in the rematch. And
Okay, so he talks about how he defended the interim belt, right? So let's get to the next part of the short.
I defended the interim. Something else, that particular fight was in Manchester, in my hometown. I wanted to fight in my hometown. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do that again in front of a sold out, brand new Co-op Live arena in Manchester, England. I don't know if I'm ever going to have the opportunity to do that again. So for them two reasons, that's why I defended the interim. I'm not doing it again. Like, I've cleared out the rest of the division, undisputed, and that's it. I deserve a shot at being known as the best heavyweight walking around on planet Earth. It doesn't matter on the opponent, undisputed next.
Okay, so he says he is not fighting for an interim belt next. So this means it's either he fights Jon Jones for the title, right? Which is what everybody wants to see. We all want to see that. Or he will fight somebody else after Jon Jones has vacated the title, which is what I think is going to happen. I think Jones will retire and he'll vacate his title, and I think we'll end up with Aspinall versus Gon, which, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But let's move over here to this little slide I've got. I just want to, go over some things. So let me fix the size on this thing real quick. Okay, got it fixed, and yeah, hold on. I'm gonna pause the recording, and just like that, I'm back. Magic. It's absolute magic. I'm a wizard. Okay, so you can see here, this is just Tom Aspinall's, like, what I would consider his like elite UFC wins, right? So you've got Sergey Spivak, you've got Alexander Volkov, and then he lost to Curtis Blades. Lost. I don't think it should count as a loss if it's an injury that wasn't inflicted by the opponent. But it is what it is. That's a loss. Marcin Tybura, Sergey Pavlovich, and Curtis Blades. So I want you guys to pay attention to the activity levels of Tom Aspinall. So obviously he took a year off after the Curtis Blades fight. So he fought Tybura in July of 2023, okay? And then he fought Sergey in November of 2023. So that's a couple months. And then we get all the way to July of 2024. He defends his interim belt against Curtis Blades. And now we're here. It's March of 2025. So it's already been a while. And Jones has had a fight in between then that wasn't against the interim champion. Okay, it was against Stipe. Stipe was not the champion, guys. He was not an interim champion. He was not the number one contender. He was ranked at number 8. So Jones's last fight was not against Tom. Obviously, it was against Stipe. So he's already done that. It was in November, and it's already March, and it's looking like if we do get the fight, we're not going to get it till like July. So I say if we don't have this fight, like if we don't have fight news for this by April, I think they should strip Jones of his belt and make him retire or let him fight somebody else. Like they could strip Jones of his belt, book Aspinall versus somebody for the belt, and then just give Jones a title shot on his return if he really doesn't want to fight Aspinall right now. That fucking bad for some reason. Fucking strip him of his belt, give him a title shot when he comes back. Do what you got to do. Pay him enough money because we want to see this fight, or make him retire now if he's not going to fight him. So you can see Tom Aspinall, he does want to be active. Jones is holding him up. He's in his prime right now. He's in his early 30s. These are Aspinall's prime years. He is a heavyweight, so I'd say he's got like a good 6 to 7 years left where he's really going to be in amazing physical shape, and still be in somewhat of his prime. But it's just silly that we're going so long in between Tom Aspinall fights, considering how quickly he beats people. He obviously wants to fight more. Like he'd fight as much as possible, but Jones is holding it up. So let's take a look here at Jon Jones's last 3 fights. So in the last 5 years, he's had 3 fights. He beat Dominic Reyes in 2020. He took 3 years off and waltzed into a heavyweight title shot. He submitted Gane in a round. And then he took almost a year and a half off and fought Stipe. Now, he did get injured. That's when Tom Aspinall stepped up to be the co-main event and fight for the interim belt at UFC 295. Okay, so he got injured and then waited a whole fucking year to fight Stipe. So Jones is extremely inactive. These inactivity levels are unacceptable. Okay, this is not acceptable for a champion. I feel like if you are a champion and you get injured and you're gonna be out for more than a year, you should have to vacate your belt. Yuri Prohaska did it. Jamal Hill did it. I think that should be a new rule. I don't think you should have to fight for a title shot when you come back. I think you should get it. And most people, if you're a champion, like let's say Yuri came back and he fought Pereira and he won, a lot of people would consider that a title defense, even though it wouldn't have been a title defense, but in people's minds it would have been like, okay, he was the champ when he left and then he won when he came back. Now that's not what happened, but it's just like a hypothetical. But it's just ridiculous the amount of time Jones is taking off. And I think it should not be accepted by the UFC. And they're wasting Tom Aspinall's prime years to appease Jon Jones, a fucking drug cheat, tested positive countless times, fucking cheater, dirty fighter, and a piece of shit human being. So it's kind of crazy. Last slide I've got here, you can see Jon Jones is a duck. You know, that's what he is. Let's see, slide it up a little bit. There's nobody for either of them to fight right now. It is the only fight for the heavyweight belt that makes sense unless Jon Jones retires, okay? Tom has 5 wins in the top 10, and nobody else in the top 10 deserves to even fight Jones. So there's no reason for this fight to not happen. Alex Pereira is fighting in a couple days, and he's the only other guy that could move up to heavyweight and get a title shot. So if we go through the rankings here, you can see Tom Aspinall has beaten Alexander Volkov, ranked number 3, Sergey Pavlovich, ranked number 4, Curtis Blades, ranked number 5, Sergey Spivak, ranked number 7, and Marcin Tybura, ranked number 8. So he beat them all in like a minute by KO. He submitted Volkov. That's incredibly impressive. He is one of the most talented heavyweight fighters ever. Nobody's been able to do that. Like, I know, like, Sergey Spivak and Tybura aren't that great, but they're still top 10 heavyweights in the world, and there's nobody else for Tom Aspinall to fight. It's not his fault the division is pretty bad. He steamrolls everybody. He hasn't had a hard fight in the UFC. Um, there's no reason for Jones to not fight him because, Jones, he's beat Cyril Gane, and then he beat Stipe, who's not even a UFC fighter anymore. Stipe retired because he was like 42. He was old. His body was in terrible shape. You could tell during the fight he was slow. He's not like he used to be. That was not a good win. And Jones took him almost for round 4. That was a pretty bad performance by Jones. There were moments where Stipe was tagging him up in the boxing, and he couldn't even finish Stipe on the ground. Um, this is just a bunch of silliness. I can't believe I'm even sitting here making a video about why the fucking undisputed champion should fight the interim champion. It's a fucking joke. The UFC is a joke. Jon Jones is a joke, and they're wasting Tom Aspinall's prime years to appease a drug cheat. So that's what I think about the situation, you guys. Let me know what you think. I feel like most people are gonna agree with me, except for the like the hardcore Jon Jones fans that like to get fucked in the butt and beat their wife to repress the thoughts of getting fucked in the butt. That's how it is. But hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a great day.